Welcome to the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Alysia. Greatness is a decision and your birthright. You deserve to love the woman looking back at you in the mirror. This show is for the purpose-driven female entrepreneur who is committed to only counting the time she gets back up. The woman who is ready to ignite the flame within, find her voice, and use the power of her story to transform the lives of those around her. This is your weekly fuel to inspire you to action, where I'll be sharing inspirational stories, real talks with thought leaders and successful entrepreneurs from around the world, and provide you with actionable success strategies for creating a business you love. I'm a content marketing coach, and I'm committed to helping you as an online creator and entrepreneur wherever you are to turn your dreams into a reality, to help you transform your messaging so you can create a genuine connection with your audience and grow your income online. You are far more powerful and stronger than you will ever imagine. We are the warriors. You were born for this. Let's make life your bitch. Hello, and welcome to the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. It's your host, Brittany Alysia, and today I want to talk about how joy is your job. Now, first off, I want to acknowledge where this quote came from, and it's from Stephen Furtick, and he's a pastor with Elevation Church, and it's one of the religious things that I follow online on YouTube. I actually enjoy on Sundays listening to, him speak. I think he's a really powerful pastor. If you've been in my world for a little while or are new here, if you take a look at the episodes, obviously I am huge into spirituality. And so ever since I was young, I kind of just have always beat my own drum. I believe what I want to believe. And, I'm really open to hearing different people's ideas. And when I hear people talk about that, their different beliefs around spirituality, religion, and all that, and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to take a little bit of that. I believe that. Ooh, don't believe that. And so, if you're someone who looks him up on YouTube, that's where I watch, like I said, every Sunday. He has a lot of really good clips too. Short little 15-minute clips and stuff. But, it's not necessarily the religion stuff that I'm focused on. It's just I love the message that comes through. And so the reason I want to bring that up is because, it doesn't matter where you get your information from or where you hear something. It's you get to choose how you are going to utilize that. So when we talk about joy, for example, this has been a big thing for me in the last couple months, is really ever since my daughter was born in July, really re-looking at my business in a way of, identifying what is the best way for me to run my business while really doing the things that I love, while actually being able to have a family, raise a daughter, and spend time with her. Because, until she came along, my business was my baby, right? And in these last, she's coming up here on 5 months tomorrow, actually. And, it was one of those things where all of a sudden I sat down one day and I'm like, I don't do any of the things that I used to do as hobbies anymore, or the things I loved. When people would ask me, what are the things that you do, that are hobbies, or I would see the posts on, online, I'd think to myself, my business, I don't have hobbies. Those hobbies that I used to do, nobody wants to do those anymore. Those are lame. But, I've fallen back into, being man, I want to do those hobbies again. And so I had to relook at my business and structure it in a way that would bring me joy, right? And so whenever I talk to my clients, my very first client call with my clients, we do this really cool thing. So, I get them to identify. We do a visualization. I'm all about visualizations because I think that when it comes to dimensional stuff, if you listen to the dimensional episodes about the power of putting yourself into a place, being able to visualize it, feel it, smell it, do all the things, it creates that energetic connection with you. So what I do is on this call with my clients is I actually have them tell me what their dreams are, where they see themselves. The last one I did, it was 90 minutes to 2 hours long, where we go through and we identify what are all the things, what does this place look like? And it's only when I know that my client has actually put themselves there and they're in it, they feel it, and like could talk for hours about it, that I pull them out of the visualization, because now I know what's captured, and I know for myself, I can also go there with them. But so we do two things. So I take their future version of themselves, and then I ask them, once they're done that, I'm like, okay, so what is the beliefs now that are coming up? Tell me, like, I said, you've just had this feeling of like, oh my God, like this is possible. And I said, as soon as we've pulled you out of the visualization, now you have a feeling of what? And it's usually, but how, right? And so then I'll have them go through and we'll identify where, like, what beliefs are coming up for them. And I go all the way back to their first moment as a child, and we visualize that. And then we see what belief has come up for them that's holding them back from like creating this vision. And then from there, when we like create that, we connect with that vision of, and like identify what the belief is that has been holding them back. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be sharing my like signature process that I do this with my clients, but whatever. But then I go through and we grab their inner child. We pick out what belief it is, how it's shown up in their life up until this point. And then the cool thing that I do is I have them walk with their future self and their like past self. And we get them all holding hands and walking together so that we're always in the same direction, and that they have access to those versions of themselves at any time. And so the reason I bring that up is because joy is so important. And if we're too busy fearing the past, if we're too busy like stressing about the future, we don't walk cohesively together. There is no joy that comes up. And you know, with the holidays coming up, I think it's super important that I share this message, because there is some people, and I say this because I know I'm guilty of it. There's some people out there who are going to like, all of a sudden the holidays are going to come. You've been busy working on your business, or, you know, maybe you're in a 9-to-5 and you've been busy having your mind somewhere else. And all of a sudden the holiday is going to come. You're going to like, you know, enjoy it for all of like 5 minutes, a hot second, and it's going to be over. And all of a sudden, January 1st is going to hit, and you're going to ask yourself the question of like, where the fuck did the time go? Where did the last year go? Right? And you're going to ask yourself like, why didn't I enjoy Christmas more? Why didn't I enjoy Halloween more? What did I even do last summer? Right? And so the whole reason behind why we build businesses in the first place is not just for the money, but it's for the life that it's creating for us, right? Money will not buy you happiness. And I was thinking about this before I jumped on this episode, I was thinking about, you know, the whole concept of the show Scrooge, right? The movie Scrooge. And it's like money did not buy him happiness. And it's actually funny because now that I'm like saying this out loud, it's like, you know, maybe that's why it was coming up for me, because it's like that idea of like the Christmas where it's like he meets with, you know, the past, the current, and the future. And essentially that's what I just shared, right? It's like what I do with my clients. I'm a projector, so like I'm a self-projected projector. So that means when I speak out loud, that's when like my ideas come. So it's actually funny. Like I'm getting ideas right now as I'm sharing this with y'all. So anyway, so it's interesting how like, you know, the Scrooge thing came through for me, because that's something I actually do with my clients, but I digress. So I feel like we're like, should be having tea together right now and us talking, because that is the kind of conversation I'm having with you right now, is just how my mind tracks. Welcome to Brittany's actual world behind the scenes. Any hoodles. So, so what I wanted to say about that was, you know, with Scrooge, it's like that same idea, right? My whole point is that like, where did the joy go this past year? Did you walk with joy? When I very first started my business back in 2018, I made a decision and I chose a word, and that was joy. And I told myself I had just gotten out of a 5-year relationship. It was with the person I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And he cheated on me, and it was really cool that he cheated on me, because then it was like there's no way of going back. Like there was no what ifs. I was just like, yes, I'm done, I'm out. And with my life in pieces, I decided to start putting those pieces together the way that I wanted. And I came up with I was never one of those people who chose a word for the year, but I said, I'm going to choose joy. So absolutely everything I did, I asked myself, does this bring me joy? And I did that again in 2020. I chose that word again, and in 2023 it's going to come again, because this past year I chose feminine energetics, and I really tapped into the feminine energetic side of things, and I wanted that in my business. And it's been really interesting because I've been able to marry the two, masculine and feminine, into my business now. I really talk about strategy from the masculine standpoint, and I really talk about, the mindset and leading from our feminine, but actually still doing the work. So, I really wanted to come on here and ask you, what brings you joy? And in 2023, as it moves forward, can you ask yourself, what brings me joy? And when something comes up in your business and you think to yourself, does this bring me joy? If it's a fuck no, don't do it, right? Even if it's a business task that you want to do, which I am someone who, I'm okay with the hustle. I'm okay with the hustle. I'm not okay with burnout. Okay. And so when it comes to that, it's if the answer is no, this doesn't bring me joy, it doesn't mean just don't do it. It's okay, well, how would this bring me joy? If I have to create content, for example, if I have to create content and the way I'm doing it doesn't bring me joy, what can I do differently so that it does bring me joy? Right? It's just if you want a better answer, ask a better question, right? I think that's a quote. So, when it comes to this, practice for the next, I don't know, how many days are left? 10, 11 days? 12? I think it's 12 days. I think there's 12 days of Christmas. There's 12 days left in December. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. But you guys are probably giggling at me right now. Okay, so I don't drink, just so everyone's clear. I do not drink with my giggles right now, but I love the holidays. And, I was sitting, another reason why joy came up for me was I was sitting with my daughter today, and I was thinking to myself, I'm so lucky. There's so much joy in my life. And, it's not because of money, it's because of the little things, right? I have to stop myself sometimes when I'm sitting there working and remind myself, what are the things that bring joy to my life? What are the things that bring joy to your life? And so when I talk about the business side of things, right? We have 12 days left. I don't know. I think it's 12. So anyway, if there's 12 days left, why don't you practice for the next 12 days and just ask yourself, with everything you do, does this bring me joy? And see if you can bring that into 2023 with you. Does this bring me joy? And if you want to choose a different word, but as Stephen Furtick says, it's joy is your job. Your joy is your job. In order for you to be happy and joyous in life, which joy is fifth dimensional shit, right? If you want to manifest anything, you need to be in a state of joy, bliss, happiness. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to the dimensions. I explain what the 5D is in there. But if you want to bring, if you have something clear, you're I want this, okay? So you have the clarity of what you want, but you're always in a negative state or in fear, and you're not holding the duality. It's you're not going to bring what you want into your life. And so if you lead from joy, right? If you lead and every move you make is from joy, manifestation gets to become easy, right? Because you're leading from the place of joy. You're actually making the aligned moves from a state of the 5D versus being like, this is what I want. I want to hit 10K months. So I want to hit 10K months, and that will bring me joy. That's what you tell yourself. I want to hit 10K months. That will bring me joy. And you put it up into like the 5D, and you're like, okay, so I want this. And then you get caught up in like the burnout hustle, and you're moving from a point of desperation trying to figure it out. And it's just like, but like, can't we have fun with this? Like, how would doing business like joyously be fun? And so if you don't know, I'm hosting a challenge. This is going to be the longest challenge that I've ever done. And it is a month-long challenge. And the reason I'm doing it is because so here's an example. I want to learn how to do reels better. I'm challenging myself because when it comes to content, I like to be very like detailed. When I do any sort of masterclasses and challenges, I like totally prefer Zoom because I want to sit down. I want to see you. I want to see your interactions and like the way you respond and all of that so that I can help people personally. But with Reels, it's like forcing me to learn how to put out information and content like super simple. And so I really want to do Reels. And so I thought to myself, okay, so if I'm going to learn how to do Reels and I'm growing a business, I'm going to learn all about Reels. And now what would bring me joy by doing these Reels that I know it's going to further me ahead in my business? So I was like, I'm going to run a challenge. I want to make sure that I'm doing Reels every single day. And I want to set like the year off strong. And it's like, okay, so if that's what I'm going to do, if I'm going to do Reels, like, well, what would be fun? What would be a fun way of doing it? And so I've sat down and I've created my own content process because that's how I am. I love content. Back in October, I asked myself, I love content and I love mindset and manifestation. How do I marry the two? And, in December, beginning of December here, I got super frustrated with some of the coaches online. And it was like, I was reminded that I need to help people hit those 10K months again and help them do it strategically in a way of figuring out all their own pieces, right? And like I said, like with my life, when all the pieces were in like all over the place and I got to put them back together my way, it's the same thing with people's businesses. When they feel like they're in pieces or they have like a whole bunch of different programs and don't know how to strategically put it together so that it makes fucking sense, that's where I come in. And so, when it comes to that, so I'm going to be doing a challenge on my Instagram, and it's going to be called the Road to 10K. And it is going to be all about like each day I'm going to give you a task or something to do in order to set your business up foundationally for 10K months. The other thing is I'm going to be doing it on the podcast as well. So the idea is I want to grow my social platforms, right? So it's like I get to marry all these different strategies and ideas that I have to like grow my platforms. And so there's also going to be parts where I do want to go into something deeper on a topic, and then I'll talk about it on the podcast, right? So the really cool thing is like when it comes to your business, like you get to do things your way. But like when you see someone else doing something, don't bounce all over the place. Don't be like, oh, I'm over on Facebook now. Oh, I'm over on Instagram. Now I'm on a podcast because like these seem fun, right? Yes, bring joy into your life. But at least have a strategy and understanding of like how they all connect, right? And I am going to talk about that on the Road to 10K challenge. I'm going to talk about how like the importance, like I like people to understand things, right? If I'm going to tell you to do something, if someone's going to tell me to do something, I want to know why, right? Like you want me to jump off the bridge? Okay, tell me why. And if it sounds like it's a good reason for me, then I will do it. But if you're just going to tell me to jump, like I'm probably not going to do that. So with that being said, so there's going to be this challenge coming up. And if you want to jump in there's a paid version. So there's a $55 upgrade. We're going to hang out together all month while we're doing the challenge. And you're going to have like a Voxer group chat with me where you can ask all of your questions. So as you are going through and we have like that day's task and you're like, how does this relate to my business? And you want personalized coaching, we're going to do that. We're going to do a workshop, a content, like a full day on a Sunday, a content workshop where we're going to plan your 2023 content, and it's going to be positioned at a place in the challenge where where you're set up for it, where you've been like following the foundations, the foundational steps. And so the reason I say, the reason I bring this up when it comes to joy is my point is that you get to do business your way. You get to do life your way. And you get to bring joy into your life however you desire, right? So moving forward, today, what is the thing that I'm going to suggest that you do? And I just want you to, take the rest of this week to ask yourself, like, what's going to bring me joy right now? The holidays, like I said, they're coming up. Some of you won't celebrate the holidays, but you still get to be joyous. Doesn't matter what you believe in, right? As for myself, I know I have a podcast episode today that I'm going to be interviewing another woman based on human design stuff for our human design series coming up. My little brother, he arrives on Tuesday. My sister and all her kids arrive on Tuesday. So they're all coming in to visit. And to me, I made sure that this year I took time off with my business. Like I actually allowed myself to create that flow in my life so that I can start doing that versus, working through. And it was like, I'll be happy when, I will have time when. And I think when we can actually identify for ourselves, like what brings me joy? What does my dream life look like? And then we build businesses around it and we move from aligned joy. Like we move from a place, like alignment is joy, right? When we move from that place, like anything becomes possible. So that is my challenge for you. Well, there's two. The first one being, the whole piece around just asking yourself daily or, moment to moment, does this bring me joy? Does this bring me joy? Do I want this? Will it bring me joy? And like, I don't want anyone who's going to be like, well, Brittany, I asked if like this thing that I'm not supposed to do brings me joy. And I said, yep. And so I did it. And it's like, well, you're only fooling yourself there. Like, will the long term, will doing what you just did in the long term bring you joy? No, don't do it. But, and then the other thing is, if you're someone who's in business right now and you're still trying to hit those 10K months, or you're trying to hit them again, or maybe you're someone who's just like, you know what, I need to tweak some things. There's some things that I've forgotten are the basics around business. Join us for the Road to 10K Challenge. The link is in the description for you to sign up. And then it will also give you the option for the $55 upgrade. Like I said, we're going to get to hang out for 31 days, talk on Voxer. We're going to be able to help you directly with your business. We're going to do a full content workshop. There's a question and answer call as well. And it's going to be a lot of fun. My big passion in life is helping women grow their businesses. Obviously, part of that means that even though it's a passion, we get to charge for our passions, right? We get to help people and make a difference in the world. So with that being said, choose joy. Like I said, choose joy. I know you're going to hear from me more this week. There's a lot of things that I'm working on behind the scenes. And so I always like to share my ideas that are going on. The reason I've actually been quiet for the last 2 weeks now is because I've been working on stuff behind the scenes, because I'm really creating this, I'm creating the workshop right now for the content workshop is what I've been doing. So now as I start doing, because I always do everything that I teach, I do myself. And so as I start planning my content using this strategy, you guys are going to be hearing about it in the next couple weeks before I actually teach you how to do it myself, but you'll be hearing me behind the scenes working on things. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So anyways, have a really good Monday. Have a really good week. And for everyone out there listening, go out there, bring in joy, and go make life your bitch. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please share it with your bestie. And if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast player. If you have any questions, feedback, or compliments that you want to throw like confetti, you can reach me directly at podcast@makelifeyourbitch.co. Thanks for listening.